Hey now, Brawlers, it's time for another Board Game Brawl review with Nick Minahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com. Hey peoples, today we're going to take a very quick look at King of Tokyo, the second edition from Yellow Games. I say very quick look because in reality, while it may sound like, whoa, King of Tokyo, second edition, some major news, it's actually really not that major news. It's exactly the same mechanically as the original. If you're not familiar with King of Tokyo, and I'm not going to go over the whole game now, watch my review of it, watch many other reviews of it, where it goes over the details of how it is a Yahtzee-style combat dice monster game. Very simplistic. You're just rolling dice Yahtzee style to fight other monsters and gain control of Tokyo and either knock all the other monsters out or get enough victory points to win the game. To get 20 points, to be precise. You get power-up cards, all of these different things. All of that is the same in this version of King of Tokyo. Now, there, of course, is King of New York. That's a whole other story because, while that has the same basic mechanisms, there's a lot of significant differences in that one. This doesn't take any of those. It is just the original King of Tokyo. However, what is different about it is that it essentially got a whole makeover. All of the artwork has been updated and replaced. Sort of. What I mean by that is that there's definitely new art for everything. The board, the monsters, the power-up card, or not the power-up cards, the gear cards, everything is completely new artwork. But most of them use the exact same poses of the monsters on the cards. I mean, the same style, same action going on, and most of them keep the same name as well and the same abilities. So it's not a drastic change. And by the way, I'm not going to do a final thoughts on this. These are my final thoughts, so I'll just jump into my opinion. And that puzzles me. It's not that the first artwork for the original King of Tokyo was so amazing and stunning, but it was fine. It was charming in its own way. It was kind of rough around the edges, but I don't think anyone had a major problem with it who would be inclined to like a giant monster dice-chucking game. So the fact that they replaced all the artwork is a little bit puzzling, but okay, you want to give it a new coat of paint. I would say that even though art is subjective, this is clearly better artwork by a small margin, so there's at least that. As far as the gear cards go, there's a few changes. First off, a lot of rules text was cleaned up a bit, sometimes in very subtle ways. One of the things I saw primarily was that even though a card might do exactly the same thing, it would be worded differently just to remove any kind of ambiguity, and especially in the way of replacing text with dice symbols. For example, by the way, this assumes knowledge of King of Tokyo, but let's say that a card gave you health. Let's say it gave you 1 extra health for doing something. Because you attacked, you get an extra health, something like that. In a previous card, it would say, actually spell out health. Now it would have a picture of the heart die. Same thing if you get extra combat symbols, or extra energy symbols, or extra number symbols. Well, that always was the case. But now everything is always dice symbols to directly correlate it to the dice and remove any kind of ambiguity. Which is fine. Some cards are even more drastically changed just to fix their text. Primarily, the one everyone wanted to be fixed was I think it's called Monster Battery, something Battery, which essentially was useless in the original King of Tokyo. Now, I don't remember the exact text, but it is pretty much useful again, or for the first time. Some cards have their names changed a little bit, like High Altitude Bombing became something else like Death from Above. One card, I can't remember what the original text was, but now it's called High Energy Drink, something like that, for no apparent reason, just because. To be cool with the kids. If I say that phrase, by the way, that officially means I'm old. That's fine. It's totally fine. I'm not upset about it at all. Moving on, though. The other major change, if you call it major, is that the characters are different, the monsters. So most of them are the same, and of course they have new artwork. You have Gigazor, you have the King, and so on. The Kraken is gone. In the Kraken's place, you have the Space Penguin, who used to be a promo character that a bunch of really hardcore fans paid a lot of money to get, even though all the characters are the same. It is just artwork, then and now. The other thing is another fan favorite character, the Cyber Bunny, is gone. In its place is Cyber Kitty, which is basically the same. Looks very, very similar. That's fine. In fact, and again, with the artwork is all updated, so a few cards actually showed Cyber Bunny. Now they show Cyber Kitty. Now, I actually heard that this was for a legal reason, but it was very nebulous. Like, this was some rep from Yellows mentioned this in a thread just fleetingly, and everyone's like, "What? Whoa, there's a cyber bunny somewhere that you were worried about?" Or I don't know. I don't know. That's just a rumor at this point, speculation. But I thought it was kind of funny. So those characters are gone. Now, the thing about it is, if you have the original King of Tokyo, you could just use the characters anyways because it doesn't matter. There's no unless you're using the power-up cards, and even then you can just say, okay, Cyber Kitty's using Cyber Bunny's cards or vice versa whenever they do those. Because that's the thing. There will eventually be an updated power-up expansion for this as well, and presumably more stuff. I don't know if they'll reprint the Halloween expansion, for instance. So right now, and because the card backs are different, they're only backwards compatible if you really want to mix the very few cards that are slightly different, if you use card sleeves. Although they've also mentioned they're going to print special King of Tokyo card sleeves to use some of the other cards as well, like maybe perhaps the Halloween expansion. And again, they'll be doing another power-up expansion. So I guess the big question here is this worth getting? If you don't have a version of King of Tokyo, first off, maybe soon it'll be hard to get the first edition. And in any case, you should just get this one. There's no reason, unless you really had a thing for the Kraken and Cyber Bunny, to go back and hunt down the original. If you already have King of Tokyo, is it worth getting this? No, not really, because the only thing you'd be getting are some updated gear cards with updated artwork, and you'd have a couple of characters swapped. But still, that's not a big deal. If you're perfectly happy with your copy and on the fence about it, unless you're one of those people who would do something like spend a lot of money on a Space Penguin and just want the characters, fine, have at it. Otherwise, there's no reason to. I should also mention that Target is going to have an exclusive version of this. They might have it now, I'm not sure, that replaces Gigazor with Baby Gigazor. And that's the only difference. Marketing is here, folks. It's here. No, I don't know. It's fine. But again, it's totally within their rights to print a second edition. It's just that this is one of those cases where I think that we as board gaming enthusiasts are sort of taught to say, second edition, whoa, my goodness, it's going to be great. They're going to change and fix so many things. Didn't really happen here. Very, very, very small changes. So don't worry about it too much. Break yourself of that habit in this particular case. In any event, I'm going to show you now every single new thing from this version of King of Tokyo right next to the old stuff from King of Tokyo. No dumb voice accompaniment from me. So enjoy, make your own decision. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon, and make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.